and to give us a message, a welcome message. And I'd like to first of all present Val Miles presenting the first pictures, the first film of the first Quilty ride. No one's ever seen this before unless you went to Ron's wake. And the second film is a little piece I wrote about a Quilty horse, and I'll explain that after the film. So the first one is the Quilty 1966, and the next one is a song which is based on one of my poems called Put Out to Grass, Study's Last Ride. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Val. Welcome to Quilty. I hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed it, because I was there at the very first one, long time ago.
The old horse grazed by the boundary fence where the Colo River bends, with the coat turned grey from his racing days as his long ride nears its end. When a bright young colt came stepping near with the boldness of the new, and he tossed his head and he lightly said, "Is this Quilty tale of you? Were you there at Colo sharp and clear, with the rider's weight and the girths pulled tight and the starting time drew near. Did you thunder out of the hardened mob when the star was clean and true? Oh, say, old one, the tales they tell, did they really happen to you? The old horse raised his weathered head and breathed in the evening slow. Well, lad, he said, there's a thing or two that a willing colt should know. For the Quilty ride at Colo Heights in the early years gone by was a game for hearts that would not quit, legs that were built to try. Oh, the mist lay low on Wheelbarrow Ridge when the first month filed away, and the leather creaked and the bit chains chimed in the chill of the midnight grey. The horses pulled and the riders keen, and the pace was strong but fair, and you learned right quick on the Colo track who was bred for the long ride there. My rider then was a handy man, light hands and a patient seat, never chased the pace in the early miles, just let me find my feet. He'd give me rein where the track ran true and held steady, where ground turned rough, and when others tired in the later miles, he'd know I still had enough. Across the creeks and the ridgeline tracks where the fields strung thin and wide, and the ones that boasted loud at dawn fell back on the farther side, but the good ones kept to their steady work with the dust in their nostrils dry. For the Quilty's won by the horse that lasts, not the one that flashes by. The colt stepped closer, and where's your man, the rider you rate so high? The old horse licked his tail at a drifting fly and gave a softer sigh. He's older now, same as me, with the silver through his hair. His riding days are mostly done, though the heart's still beating there. And me, I'm turned out where the grass grows soft and fences wander wide. No more the call of the early start, no more the Quilty ride. But sometimes, lad, when the dust comes down and the curlews start to cry, I can feel the lift of the saddle again and the old days riding by. So run while your legs are fresh and clean, carry your rider true, for the miles roll fast and the years go past quicker than young ones knew. The colt stood still in the falling dusk where the quiet river flows, then gently nuzzled the old horse's neck, for somehow a young colt knows.
One, two, oh. Every song has a little bit of truth, and I sort of wanted to base that on three of my horses I'd like to introduce you. First of all was my wonderful stallion Oasis Desert Song. It was a great horse. We did the first 3 Shazadas. His first year he did 60 mile at St Albans. His second ride as a 5-year-old was the Tom Quilty Gold Cup, and the third ride was Shazada. So no novice ride in those days, but he was a great horse. And also his son Armistice, and he won a few Quilties, and Jenny Gilbertson rode him. He went to Dubai and stayed in Europe, and then the following couple of years later he was actually on the Canadian team, and he was the only Canadian horse that finished. And the last one was a horse called Belle. I won't go too much into it, but she saved my life back in 1984, and I owe her my life. But she was a great horse. That is my ex-wife Helen riding her. Now Helen was a very good rider. She won the first 2 lightweight Quilties on Belle, and she was very instrumental in getting the lightweight division. So all you lightweights can thank my ex-wife Helen for that. But now I'm going to introduce you some dear friends of mine. I mean, it's been 60 years of this incredible ride, and it's important that we remember our history because it's one of the great rides of the world. And I'd like to just bring a few of my friends up and have a bit of a chat with them. First one is Jenny Oliver. Jenny's, I've never seen her stop smiling. Let's say a word about Jenny, right? First of all, when people talk about great horse and rider partnerships, one name always comes up, and that's Jenny Oliver. You can sit down and take it. Jenny, and her wonderful horse, Glen Allen Solomon. We used to know him as Salty, and together they won 3 Quilties in succession, an achievement which had become part of Quilty folklore. Give her a hand. I had the privilege of helping strap Salty, what a great horse he was, at one of those rides. And I saw firsthand the partnership that made them both champions. Salty's name lives on today in the new Quilty song, along with Buckshot, Robbie, Tequila and Desert Song, which I'm going to sing at the end of this show. The next one, I'd like to bring up another great friend of mine, Olga Bartlett. Where are you, Olga? Here she comes. I put down, first of all, I put Jenny on her. She was the queen of the 80s, weren't you? Olga, for me, she was the heart of endurance. She's a wonderful person. Here she comes. Give her a big hand as she comes up. Whoa! Lovely ladies. Don't get jealous. Okay, now Olga. It proves that endurance always isn't about being first over the line. Olga has completed 14 Tom Quilties, beginning back in 1988, and has become one of Queensland's most loved endurance riders, and one of Australia's most loved endurance riders, I say. She's a retired nurse, a wonderful sense of humour. Olga once gave a piece of advice which I've never forgotten. She said, "You're in the grave for a long time, so you need to make life count before you go." And I think that sums Olga up completely. Big hand for Olga. And a person who needs no introduction, a dear friend, Gail Holmes. I put down for Gail, she's the professional. I mean, she's a wonderful person. But she's been very successful. I suddenly found, she sent me some photographs, the secret of her success. Can I have the next photograph? She was like a couple of horses spare. No, Gail. If endurance riding had a hall of fame, Gail Holmes would already have a room of her own. 17 Tom Quilty buckles, more than 30,000 competitive kilometres, an Australian representative on numerous occasions, and with the unforgettable, wonderful horse, Faraway Verdict. One of the great horses of modern endurance. Through the 1990s, Gail was rarely absent from the Quilty. So a big hand for Gail. Now, the other end of the scale, we have the beginning of a wonderful, the future I put down, Emma Ireland. Emma, come on up, Emma. Now, every generation needs new champions, and Emma is a representative of the future. Emma Ireland reminds us that the future of endurance is in very, very good hands. In 2024, she won the Tom Quilty in South Australia, just 1 year after leaving junior ranks, which is an incredible achievement there. But perhaps the more remarkable, she's continuing on a family tradition. She's the granddaughter of Peter Cole. Anybody remember Peter, the great Peter Cole, who won the Quilty? On an incredible stallion. We used to call him Wings, but his name is Chip Chase Sadaka. 41 years later, Emma won on the grandson of that same stallion, and that's fantastic. What a wonderful piece of Quilty history. Emma Ireland. And the next on the list is a dear friend of mine. I've known Alan for a long time. Alan Lindsay. I must admit, there's one thing that always used to give me the push. I won't give you a kiss. for you. I was doing a show a little while ago, a concert, and I'm really good in the books when people have phones, and a phone goes off in the audience, and I'm halfway through a very involved story, and suddenly this phone goes off, and I said, "Whose bloody phone is that?" And they said, "It's yours." Okay, Alan, when do you get to it? Some writers make headlines, others simply just keep turning up year after year, quietly doing the miles. Alan is one of those people. In 2023, he passed the extraordinary milestone of 30,000 kilometres, a lifetime spent in the saddle and a lifetime devoted to insurance. And what I would say, he used to give me the puts because he'd start at the Quilty or all the St Albans, and all he would wear was a bloody t-shirt. Do you remember that? Okay. Now, Chrissy Tackroll, collector of buckles. I think I've got the right one this time. Records were made to be broken, and Chrissy Tackroll certainly has done that, beginning her endurance career alongside her identical twin sister, who I keep getting mixed up, Naomi. I didn't know she was. I thought that Chris had been in all these different places at one time, and it was the two of them. It's amazing. Chris, under the guidance of the legendary Meg Wade, Christy has gone on to collect 22 Tom Quilty buckles, more than anyone else, and 5 Tom Quilty victories, which is incredible. Now she's approaching 40,000 competitive kilometres, a remarkable achievement by any standard. Big hand for Christy. And now we come to an incredible bit of history. Tom Thompson, where are you? Come on up. Here we go. Now, if you haven't heard of Tom Thompson, well, you should have known. Now, some horses become legends, and so do some people who ride them. Tom Thompson and Prince Aussie won the Tom Quilty in 1988 and 1989, proving that champions can come from the most unexpected places. Prince Aussie actually came from the Dogger sales. True. Together, they became one of the great partnerships of Quilty history. Today, Tom is quietly mentoring riders and sharing his wisdom with the next generation. Big hand for Tom. And last but by no means least, also, what are we talking? I'm going to talk to you later. Oh, can't keep a good man down. Okay, last but not least, I mean, how can I introduce her? She is a legend. There are champions and there are people who've shaped the sport, and this lady has done that. She's an amazing lady. Meg Wade's one of those people. 11 Quilty buckles, founder of Castlebar Arabians, mentor to countless riders, including Christy, and one of the great horsewomen of Australian endurance riding. Her influence could be seen every weekend on endurance rides around the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Meg Wade. Well, I thought we'd have a bit of a chat, and so I'm going to give this microphone to right hand on. Oh, that's a bit louder. 1, 2. Okay, lovely, perfect. So I'm going to ask each one of these wonderful people a question, and I want them to answer. Maybe you might get an insight into what endurance used to be like and what endurance ride is now. Jenny. What about Salty? What was the things that made him different from any other horse you rode? The great Salty.
Well, Salty was an amazing horse, incredible heart. He wasn't any different to any other horse. He just had this amazing heart, willingness to go. I think his training in his early years had something to do with it. He was taken up into the mountains chasing brumbies. That's how it all started. We didn't do a lot of training because every weekend he was up in the mountain chasing brumbies, and then he'd come back and when we got him first into endurance, he just started showing how good he was. And it was his heart. I won't say it was confirmation because he didn't have an excellent confirmation. He actually had a drop tip, but which didn't go too well in the best condition things afterwards. But he had a heart. He was quiet. I mean, kids could ride him. We've got Christy McGavin over here. I remember riding him up at the Witton-Delongreach ride. She and her sister, yeah. She and her sister. God, I don't know, how small were you? You're only very... riding, he was so quiet, very good, do anything with him, just very willing to go. He was out of a mare from the Northern Territory, a thoroughbred mare from the Northern Territory by Diablo, a pure Arab stallion. He was just an amazing horse, and we just all loved him.
Thank you. Olga! Now, you've been in business for a long, long time. So, and all those buckles and all those miles, why do you keep coming back?
I've had 3 wonderful horses, and Jackson Brown was my main one. I kept coming back because it just keeps you going, it gives you discipline, keeps you mentally and physically alert all the time, and the endurance family is a wonderful family to be part of.
Gail! You've seen the sport change over 3 decades. No! She started riding at 2. What do you think is the big difference between the quilties of the 90s and the quilties of today?
Well, I wasn't there in the first quilties, but the early quilties. But I guess endurance rides in the quilties in those days, or 160 kilometres in those days, we usually run over 4 loops. There wasn't much water out on the track. You wouldn't have beautiful establishments like this to run an event. Sometimes they're out in the paddock, no power, no toilets. So dig a hole with the Hessian fence around you. So, you know, if you think you got... some people come to events and, you know, might say, oh, well, if you had seen how we did it, and especially running 4 loops and not much water out on the track like we are now, we're treated like kings and queens these days. So in those days it was really tough, and the people in those days that won really deserved it.
Actually, I must tell you a story. Thank you, Gail. Please give Rachel a big hand. She's been looking after the sound of the people. Back in the day when Quilty was Colo Heights, hence the poetry, it was pretty primitive up there, the Colo Reserve. And what they used to do for toilets is to dig a big hole, and they'd slide this sort of sled with it. Anybody was there? And they slide this big sled. I don't know if you might have been there at the time. And there was one particular quilty, it might have been the quilty on the April Falls ride. It had been raining for about a week before, so things were getting a bit slushy. And all the riders up there on this, going over this big hole. And a dear friend of mine, the great Roy Holland, a riding vet, decided just before the ride, he was going to relieve himself on this toilet. So it's still raining, and he goes to the toilet. And so I'm sitting there, and suddenly I hear a shudder, I feel a shudder. And what happened was that the actual sled slipped and fell into the hole, along with poor old Roy Holland. Now we didn't have showers or anything up there at that time, just a water truck. He sort of sloshed himself down and did the ride, but I tell you what, no riders got too close to him that day. Things have been changed, things have totally changed. Okay, now we're getting on to Emma Ireland. Emma, what did it feel like crossing the finishing line, knowing that you were following in your father's footsteps?
was a very surreal moment. Razorback Kelly's Flyer, he's in Dubai at the moment. He's a very, very incredible horse, and that moment crossing the finish line, the whole day was just surreal from the start. When I got my bib number, it was number 333, and I just got goosebumps straight away, and I went and showed my horse my bib number, and I was like, Kelly, we've got this. And he was like, yeah, we do. And I just continuously spoke to my horse. We had a very strong connection, we still do. He's a very, very special horse. I spoke to my grandfather all day. He was with me every single step of the way, guiding me and protecting my horse, which he did. In one word to describe it is just tears. The only emotion I had was tears. I couldn't speak to anyone in interviews after. I couldn't speak. I couldn't say anything except cry. He was very special. He's just the most perfect horse ever. And yes, I'm very grateful to have had my grandfather looking after me every step of the way. And yes, it was just very surreal.
Thank you very much. Now we're going back to an dear old friend of mine. We go way back to the early Kangaroo Valley days, and Alan Lindsay. I'm quite sure that I was told that you had a certain pair of lucky underwear you used to wear. Is that true?
No lucky underwear.
No underwear at all. No. He's a tough man, this is. No, seriously. He's a great guy, and I haven't seen him for a few years, but we used to be. I used to get up very early in the morning. I used to live in Berry or Brooklyn Valley. I used to live in Kangaroo Valley, and used to put old Desert on a truck and go over the mountain, and we'd go home early ride training. Alan, yes. Alan, I was about to say, after all those kilometres, what's the biggest lesson that horses have taught you?
Wow, good question. Thanks, Trevor. I guess the biggest thing I would say about riding horses is just to be patient as you can. Every horse is different, of course, as you know. Yeah. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of good horses. Horses like Bindo, Reagan,
Arrowan and Reagan.
Richard's Reagan, yeah, for sure. Who's some miles on. Some of the horses I've had from Megan and Chris Wade as well. It's been awesome horses that do carry me to hoops of rides and get up to my 30,000 Ks, which is awesome. So, I don't know, it's hard to, you just need a horse that needs to relax under you and feel good, I guess is my point. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Big hand for Alan. Oh, we get to Christy. Whoa. Now, Christy, obviously, you're only a teenager, but no. But obviously, you've been through several generations of the sport. So.
Yeah, I'm only in my 40s.
Well, that's 20 years. Yeah. What keeps the passion alive for you? Why do you want to keep coming back and going on?
Yeah, the passion. Well, it's not the midnight starts. I'm very passionate about the sport. I love the people I meet along the way. There's some amazing people out there. I've been able to travel the world and travel Australia. I love that we can travel to state for quilties. We see some amazing scenery through the ears of our horses. They take us many places, so our horses are probably the biggest part of my passion of why I keep doing it. And everyone out there, so thanks everyone.
Thanks, Lucy. And I'm going to hand over to Tom. We're talking about passion of horses. I think we all love our horses, and that's the thing I love about endurance, is that we have that abiding love. you know, you think about your own horses, you get a bit teary. I get a bit teary anyway. But I'd like to say to Tom, because Tom, if Prince Aussie was standing beside you now, what would you say to him?
Well, the short answer would be, thanks for the ride. But please bear with me, I'll explain what I mean. When we first started, we had no idea what an endurance horse was. We looked around a lot of others, a lot of horses. We came across this horse in the paddock. It was half wild. A woman was told there, I'd have put him in the sales yard, cut his throat, but you're not keeping him there. Anyway, we had a look at this horse, and if he was a human being, he'd be Cliff Young. That's the way he moved. His legs were going everywhere, his head was going everywhere. But Dawn said, and I agreed with her wholeheartedly, that's an endurance horse. When we brought him home, he had quite a short trip. He ended up being a couple of years older than when he started there, and we thought, well, this is not good, but we'll try him anyway. There, we did try him there, and he did okay. He took to it from day one. The biggest problem I had after we'd done a couple of rides, we used to try and kick the gate down to try and get back out on the track, and we thought, well, he's not too bad there. So then we got down to the first Quilty, which was just down the road here at Kenilworth. No plans, no nothing. Things just fell into place, and I ended up winning there. So then they told us, well, you better get over to Perth and have a crack over there. We went there. There was a guy walking around. Apparently, I didn't hear it. I didn't see it, but I heard about it there. A guy came around. He said there, which idiot would take a nag like this across to Australia, all across Australia, to go into a Quilty? And of course, Queensland was standing right next to him. And they said, there, what are you talking about last year's winner? I said, mate. That sort of put a bit of a spotlight. But his conformation was all over the place there. He didn't have a bad head, he didn't have a bad neck, he had a pretty good body, he had legs, well, somewhere in each corner, but nothing was put together. Yeah. So, but that's how he was, that's why he's a Cliff Young. Yeah. Anyway, then of course we come to Myrtleford down there, and we didn't do as well as we had a like there. Brooks Ample knocked me over there, and I wasn't upset at all, because I thought there couldn't be a better person than Brooks Ample to get on top of me. Yeah. And so I thank you, Brooke. Yeah. And at that time, we had to go to Sweden. We said, we thought, well, we'll try the Sweden there. We went across to Sweden there. Things did not work out for us there. We put him in a huge big paddock there. As he got off the plane, he immediately wanted to go back to Australia. So he ran full gallop through this paddock and lots of rocks. He picked one up. Lameness. Anyway, we got to start there, and that's all we can say. We've got to start there. And I've got to say, of all the rest of the world there, he knocked them all over, except he couldn't keep going. He was lame there. So, but not only was he lame, he knew he couldn't. He let me down, or he let everybody down. He knew it. So we put him back in the stable, and that's the only time I've ever seen him lay down, because he was sick there. So I had to stay with him. I stayed with him that night, and everybody else was partying, and I'm staying there, and they thought, this is an idiot from Australia. But I'm sure that I'll get the right thing, because he got up next morning. Yeah. So, but he wasn't right, so we left him there over in Sweden. We went back, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years later, and we rode him around a pretty little place in Gotland. Gotland? Yeah, Gotland Island, very little Gotland. And he was a good horse there. Anyway, the thing was there that I thought I was pretty good on this horse, but the people over in Sweden, they really did a lot better than I ever did on this horse, a lot better. As far as we know, there he competed in 8 countries. There's Australia, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Britain, Germany, Holland, and North Africa. There. He didn't win all day, yeah, but he did very well. His last ride was in Sweden. We think he was 23. He knocked them all over at 23. Yeah. And anyway, then he got colic. There, poor, yeah. And they put a skirt down his throat, and he had 2 windpipes. Whether that was a good thing or a bad thing against him, nobody can ever tell me, but apparently he had 2 windpipes. Yeah. So, and that's possibly one of the reasons there. I never had to worry about him in recovery. Yeah, I could run him hard and he would recover. And what I always used to do is say, I could run him, he would tell me he'd had enough, we'd slow down, we'd go down to perhaps a slow trot, you recirculate the lactic, and away we'd go again. And of course that would happen for 40 minutes, I would run. The next time would be 30 minutes, the next one would be 20 minutes, and so it would keep going. And if I was lucky, then I got the end of the ride. He was just a freak. He wasn't a friendly horse, but that one particular night he was looking for me. He was a really nice horse. Anyway, at this particular time now, I'd like you all to put your hands together and give my old Prince a clap, because he deserves it.
That's what the horse is all about. Well, Meg, what can I say? Meg, looking back over the years of endurance, what are you most proud of? The horses you've bred, the buckles you've won, or the riders you've inspired?
Sorry. Definitely not the buckles. That's probably so. I'm really sorry. Sorry. Probably equal the horses I've bred and the people I've inspired.
God bless you. Well, you'll all go home now. Thank you very much. Give them a big hand. While they're going back, I'd just like to say, tonight we've spoken about buckles, kilometres and victories, but if there's one thing we've learned over the past 60 years, is that the real legends of Tom Quilty can never be measured by the buckles they wear, but by the friendships they've made, the horses they've loved, and the stories they leave behind. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. I mean, these are incredible people, and there are so many incredible people in endurance that I've met. 33 years ago, I was in Tasmania with Rob Miles, my dear friend, and he told me the story of Tom Quilty and how the whole ride came. And actually, Bob was there at the time. I started writing this song seriously at about half an hour before the presentation. And I'd finished it about 20 minutes before the presentation. I came out, I rushed in, I gave it to Bob, I said, do you mind if I please play this song? I got up on stage and I played the original Tom Quilty song. And the place went crazy. And I've been playing that bloody song for the last 33 years. One funny thing, what we did, we put some CDs, some singles together the following year, and a lot of people bought them. And the year after that, I came to do the Quilty, and a young fella came up to me and said, "Oh, you Trevor Knight?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Did you write that Quilty song?" I said, "Yes." He said, my parents bought that single, you know, and you know, this Quilty was in Victoria. He said, my parents came all the way from Queensland, and the only bloody thing they played all the way down was that damn song. So, okay, so I'd like to present the new Tom Quilty song. I call this 60 Years Down the Track. Clap your hands if you want. Louder. Aaron said to old Tom, "Just watch those horses run. 100 miles of trail and a buckle to be won. Horses, riders, strappers, all the blood, sweat and tears. Do you think they'll still be running in another 60 years? Buckshot, salty, rubbing, tequila, desert song. Those horses go before you, brave, proud, and strong. Lascarets light the way, hear the rattle as they fly, still riding in the Quilty beneath the southern sky. Run through the dust at the midnight light, feel the thunder of horses as they pound the track. Through the years and the tears and the miles we stack, still running in the Quilty, 60 years down the track. Those who went before, we owe so much to you. R.M. Tom and Brownball and all the mighty crew. Don't forget those band of horses, hear the rattle as they fly, still running in the Quilty beneath the southern sky. Hear them run through the dust and the midnight black, feel the thunder of horses as they pound the track. Through the years and the tears and the miles we've stacked, still running in the Quilty, 60 years down the track. For the stroke of midnight, we see a gallant band, the strappers and the stewards as they watch the horses stand. Horses hold and run, every nerve and sinew tight. They ride this Queensland Quilty through the long twisting night. Hear them run through the dust and the midnight black, feel the thunder of horses as they pound the track. Through the years and the tears and the miles we've stacked, still running in the Quilty, 60 years down the track. Hear them run through the dust and the midnight black, feel the thunder of horses as they pound the track. Through the years and the tears and the miles we've stacked, still running in the Quilty, 60 years down the track.
I'd like to thank you, Trevor, for your contribution to our sport. You've been wonderful. I actually won the Quilty in 1993, and you wrote the song and performed it for the first time, and we went crazy about your performance. It was great. Thank you.
And good luck to all you riders, strappers and stewards. God bless you all. Thank you for coming.